What's up YouTube? It's me Matt38, and in this video we're going to do an analysis of my two recent trades, what went wrong, what went well, what was actually correct, what I will do next time, and obviously the idea of this is just to maximize profit for future. Um, and obviously I've been playing around with the auction house, having fun. It's kind of enjoyable. It's highly competitive. You can do weird strategies. Potentially they pay off. 95% of the time they will fail drastically. But in this video, it's really to analyze. And you see this with any sort of game which is competitive. PvPers, they always say, look, watch your videos before and see what you did wrong. Chess players, they all analyze. Any competitive sport, there's always an after an analysis. If you can't do that for trading on the auction house, you don't have the attention span to do that, then you're probably doing something wrong. You're probably in the wrong, place because you need to always analyze what went wrong. So to start off, we've got the video from 2 days ago. This is essentially where I just written out my thesis or like my theory that supply and demand, that because the upcoming patch was coming, upcoming pre-patch was coming, people are going to be desperate to get content done on Wednesday, which was the reset day in the EU. So in this video, I bought up at 199, and obviously we don't have footage here, but I bought Sanctified Alloys at 199 gold. And then what I then decided to do was, because the price continued going down, I decided to buy up a massive buffer zone of about 200 gold. And basically from there on, I was able to dominate the market because I had so much stock where I could basically suffocate all of my competition and make sure that I was the one selling at all times. And I was doing that by increasing the rates of my sale, controlling the price, getting rid of any undercutters who went under me. Just immediately cut them out. Doesn't matter, you might make a short loss. So in that, I really learned that speed and being very aggressive in the trade was important. But I made one vital mistake. I sort of instinctively went to action too early. I bought up too early because the market was pointing downwards. And it was a heat of the moment exchange, which essentially resulted in me, now looking at the price of Sanctified Alloys the day after, which is where I made a stupid mistake, a really dumb mistake, and we'll go into that now. Because I was in the heat of the moment, it was Tuesday night, and I was thinking, what happens if the price just goes down? No one does any content. I didn't even think that in the time. So the thing you can learn from this is always stick to your principles, always stick to your code. If you don't stick to your code, you're bound to make mistakes. And also, never go halfway. Don't just buy up like 100 alloys and then go, oh, well, maybe these 100 will go up. Buy the entire thing, because you're bound to make a lot more profit if you're correct. So next video. And for the rest of this video, it was just me rapid trading. I managed to sell about 700 or 622 in about 10 minutes. So it was like 10 to 13k profit, but this is minuscule in comparison to the next video. So where is it? Here we go. Oh no. Boom. I think it's here. So this is the day after. This is reset day. My theory was correct. The price spiked and soared, and everyone was selling them at 345. So if I had just held out a day longer and hadn't rushed, I would have sold at 345 for an alloy. And again, it just goes back to my point. If you've got a theory which that it's probably right. Stick to it. Um, then during this video, like more so for just testing, going YOLO, just seeing what's going to happen, I decided I would try and create an artificial buffer. So whilst it was selling high, I would buy high. And again, this was bad because I didn't have much capital. Capital is king. The more gold you have in your inventory, the more risk you can take. Um, so I sat there, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy 100k of sanctified alloys. And my plan was basically to stick an artificial buffer in at 223 gold. So because there was like a selling frenzy, people wouldn't necessarily care or notice. This was a terrible decision. And it wasn't a terrible idea, because if I had the most amount of, sanctified alloys, if I put 1,000 on, I would buffer that entirely. People wouldn't be able to buy me out quick enough as people were uploading to the auction house. So basically, the issue here was my quantity was too small, and then like by the end of the video, someone just instantly bought me out. And this is what my point is, the auction house is extremely competitive. You've got to realize that 95% of the time you're a little fish. But the biggest problem, well, the biggest thing about this video is I didn't realize how much the price would go up on raid day. So I wasn't predicting that it was going to go up by 140 gold. That's near double what I paid for if I had 620. So if I had 620, I would be literally sitting on 100k profit. It's insane. It's insane and crazy. But like, stick to your gut, stick to your temperament, stick to your rules, stick to your code. If you break your code, if you start making half-assed decisions, you're going to lose money. You're going to fail. My buffer zone, if I was going to be really ballsy, I would have put 300 in. But then again, there was so much stock, there was so much trade happening. I would have likely been bought out. I would have likely been snapped up like a little fish. So the next thing we're going to talk about is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, modeling. This is basic financial modeling. Now, this is an important thing. Never steal models from other people. Never steal, concepts from other people. Build things around reality. Don't build things. Don't just, go to some like stockbro or whatever and go like, oh, he's using this model. Why don't I just apply this to an auction house without understanding it? This is my model I created to best understand how I'm trading. And it's got all the necessary things. You don't need masses of maths. You don't need masses of predictions, So just a simple idea. You start with your capital here. You put in what you're buying, at what price, and how much quantity. And this is just an Excel document. You get ChatGPT to make this for you in seconds. So if I got 300, is that sum? Oh yeah, my capital is down to 400. I was just like, what? So yeah, I go through here, buy in 300. What do I need to sell it at? Because there's a 5% auction house cut, so I need to sell it at least 315. And this is a good way to track. It's a good way to track. So good way to track. That's the bar. That's the minimum bar I need. Minimum sell at for profit, because you've got the 5% auction house cut. If you don't sell, if you're selling in massive stacks in a highly liquid market, you're going to lose your deposit as well. So be mindful of that. This is an important one as well. Tracking when you actually buy it. I haven't got this like dynamic. It's not got a sum. It's not doing percentages. I'm just keeping track of how much, was on the market when I bought it, and then how much is on the market at the moment. And this is just a good way to look at how, liquid the market is. The best way, though, to look at the market in terms of liquidity is obviously refreshing the auction tab. just because I stick it on my financial model, is stick to your code, stick to your mantra. It's just so you're constantly reminding yourself, because when the stakes are high, you might make half-assed decisions. You might suddenly spook. Don't spook. Never spook. If you bought something for a reason, stick to that reason, unless it's literally a delusional reason. Now, raid resets and price going up was not a delusional reason. If I'd stuck to that, I would have sat there raking in 100k profit, but I didn't, in a day as well. There is no gold guide out there as efficient as trading effectively. Anyways, I think that sort of summarizes the video. We could go and look at the auction house at the moment, and I'll just like sort of learn from your mistakes though. Learn from your mistakes. That's a massive important thing. Learn from your mistakes. Look, what's going on now? The market's going down. I've been, you know, this is where I bought. This is where my stack was bought at. So what I'm probably gonna do, if this keeps going up, I can't see how how I'm gonna actually sell at a profit. So I'll probably sell at a loss and take the loss, take the L on the head. But if it gets to 220, I don't know, probably gonna sell, because I don't think the raids are going on for any longer. But if you've watched this video all the way through, hopefully you've learned a few things. Again, don't mindlessly be some worker drone who just thinks the only way to get gold in WoW is just by sitting there for 30 hours farming stupid transmog. That's inefficient, it's dumb. Get into trying to make strategic decisions. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.